Verde Valley Experience. I'm your host, Jennifer Cohen. Thank you so much for joining us again. We have another exciting lineup of guests for you on the show today. March is Archaeology and Heritage Awareness Month amongst the Arizona State Parks. And in honor of that, we have Steve Ayers, the Director of the Department of Economic Development for the town of Camp Verde. And he'll be here to talk with us about the Spring Heritage Pecan and Wine Festival. Ken Zoll, the Executive Director of the Verde Valley Archaeology Center, will chat with us about the Verde Valley Archaeology Fair and the International Archaeology Film Fest that will be upcoming at the end of the month. We'll also have Jim Turner, historian, author, and public speaker, who'll be here to discuss the Coronado Exposition. And then we'll go on location with yoga instructor and presenter of the International Life Retreat, Tyvon Greenfield. And plus, Ryan Bigelow from the Cottonwood Parks and Rec will be here to discuss the upcoming 6th annual Brian Mickelson Marathon. Now, at the end of the show, we also have a wonderful treat for you, one of my favorite musical duos. We will have Stolen Boulevard, who is featuring Afton Seekins and P.K. Gregory. They'll be here to entertain us with their very eclectic style of music that is totally their own. So it's a good show, so stick around. We're going to start right off because we got lots of things to talk about. I've got Steve Ayers here, the Director of the Department of Economic Development for the town of Camp Verde. Woo! That's a long one.
Yeah, thank you. Good to be here.
Thank you so much for coming.
No, my pleasure.
That's great. So we have upcoming on Saturday and Sunday, March 29th and 30th, the Spring Heritage Pecan and Wine Festival. And that's a culmination of a whole bunch of different events into one. Can you tell us about it?
Sure. About a year ago, we started to reevaluate how we were doing some of our events over in Camp Verde, and decided we had these 3 events that really focused, although individual events, they really focused on 3 key parts of Camp Verde's history and its heritage. And that was the Verde River, which is, and we have a kayak race, the Verde River Runoff. Then we have the Pecan Wine Festival, which has been around for 14 years and really celebrates Camp Verde's agricultural heritage. And we thought we'd kind of roll that in together with Ken Zoll and the Archaeology Center's Archaeology Fair. So last year they all ended up split up on different weekends, and we thought, well, let's see if we can just turn this into one big monster event, and we have. Wow. So we moved it all to the weekend that the Archaeology Fair was always scheduled for, which is the last weekend of March. And it's going to be like a 3-ring circus down there, if not 4 or more.
It's a pretty amazing, all-encompassing 2-day event. It's the 14th annual Pecan and Wine. That's really exciting. I've got to get myself down there. The 3rd annual Verde Valley Archaeology Fair, and the 13th annual Verde River Runoff Canoe and Kayak Race. That sounds like so much fun. It is,
it is. Now the kayak race, we'll start with that one first. The kayak race will start off about 10 o'clock in the morning from White Bridge, which is where 260 crosses the Verde River. And that won't be so much of a public event, although Summer Place Pecan Farms, which is down on Quarter Horse Lane, which is the lane you turn on to get to the White Bridge site where they launch, is offering their whole viewing section along the Verde River. They've got about 100 yards of space along there where folks can go down there as soon as they launch and watch all the boaters go by, and it'll be a lot of fun. Some of the boaters are competitive, some of the boaters are just recreational guys having a good time. So anyway, that'll launch at 10, and at the same time at 10 o'clock we will kick off the Pecan Wine Festival and Ken's Archaeology Fair. Ken will be here to tell you a little bit more about the Archaeology Fair. I'll tell you a little bit about the Pecan Wine Festival. It was started back in 2001 in a joint effort between the town of Camp Verde and the Camp Verde Chamber. And the Chamber ran it for about 3 years, and then in 2004 the town took it over, and they ran it up until about 2009, and it's been privately run for the last 4 years, and then we took it back over again this year and ended up with 7 different organizations coming in to help out. And the Verde Valley Wine Consortium is the backbone behind the Wine and Pecan Festival. Wow. But we should have about, between what's going on at the Archaeology Fair and what's going on at the Pecan and Wine Festival, about 80 to 90 vendors there. Wow. We'll have, for the first time, all 11 wineries in the Verde Valley will be present at one place, and there'll be only Verde Valley wineries there. Wow. So this will be the first opportunity to come and actually taste nothing but Verde Valley wines.
That is so exciting. Good for
We
you
think it
guys
is,
to
yeah.
get that going.
Well,
Now,
we thank the Wine Consortium for really stepping up for this. So.
Sure. And admission to the events is free. However, there will be fees for entering the races and also for the wine tastings.
That's correct. I believe there's a $12 fee for the wine tasting, and you get a commemorative glass to go home with it. And tasting tickets, I think it's $5 or $6. I'll have to clarify that with them. But tasting tickets with that. And I think for the race, there is, if anybody's interested in participating in that, either recreational or competitive, they can sign up on, it is VerdeRiverRunoff.com, I believe it's just Google in Verde River Runoff, you'll get their webpage, and you can sign up there.
Wow, that is very, very cool. And they can also find out more information about all these events by going to visitcampverde.com and campverdepromotions.org. The internet's wonderful. There's so much information out there.
Yeah, and I want to give a shout out to the Camp Verde Promotions group. Camp Verde Promotions had taken over a couple of other of our longtime events, which was the Corn Fest in July, and Fort Verde Days in October, and they have really kind of slogged along and taken care of those on a minimal amount of resources. And this year, the town of Camp Verde bought back into the process, and we're using some public funding to assist in that. And Camp Verde Promotions is really doing all the legwork, so we don't have so much employee time spent on it. So it's becoming a really great working model, and they have just done a great job in a really short period of time to put together what I think is going to be a very, very cool event.
Oh, it absolutely sounds like it. And with all the vendors and all, there's a lot more other activities related to Arizona State Parks, Archaeology and Heritage Awareness Month that's going to be kind of filed in through there. And so it starts at 10. And how long does it go? It's
from 10 to 6 on Saturday and 10 to 5 on Sunday.
Excellent.
And this, referring to the other partners in there, the Camp Verde Historical Society will have all of their properties will be open. They own the Hance House, which is a home owned by one of Camp Verde and the Verde Valley's earliest pioneers, a guy named George Hance. They'll have the museum open, and they will also have the 1933 Rock Jail, which we have right down there on Holloman Street. They'll be open. You can come down, get your picture taken behind bars, and it's something that they love to do. Yeah. And when you have so many people in town, they can't resist opening this up. So that'll be Saturday. There'll be plenty of events for the kids. I want to stress that this is a family event. Lots of hands-on archaeology at the archaeology fair. There will be on the soccer field. It'll be divided in half, and one half will have the wine tent in it with some vendors. It's a big 6,400 square foot wine tent in there with 11 wineries will be in there, plus vendors all over that part of the field. And on the back part of the field, we'll have a bunch of stuff for the kids. Kite flying, pecan catapulting, face painting, I don't know what all. They've got a bunch of stuff in store. So pecan catapulting. Yeah, I got to see it. I haven't seen it yet, but somebody made up pecan catapults at one time, and yeah, we hauled them out, blew the dust off them, and we're going to use them. So that's going to be a scream. Yeah, I don't know if they're trying to put them into a bucket for something or what. I don't know how it works. For prizes? Oh, we don't know. Well, we'll have to find out. We'll have to go and see the pecan catapulting. There you go. Sounds like way too much fun. Really want to stress it's a family event. Tons of stuff for everybody to do there. That's great, because when you think of wine, you don't think of children. Right. So, and it's just kind of an adult thing that they can do there. And like I said, everything is free. The only thing you need to do is if you are drinking wine, you'll have to buy the glass. But the rest of the events. And a designated driver. And a designated driver. Responsible, yes. Yeah. So all of this is taking place in downtown Camp Verde. It is, right at the main entrance there at Holloman and Main Street, which is where you turn to go into Fort Verde. And we'll be blocking off to vehicles a small section of Holloman Street there. The other thing I need to talk about is Sunday. We are having the Welcome Home Vietnam Veterans Celebration. Yes. And I know Sheila was here on your show talking a little bit about that. Fantastic event. It will take place from 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock on Sunday. We expect several hundred veterans here. Great. And in one of probably the most unique things that's ever taken place at Fort Verde, the Vietnam veteran, the Native American Motorcycle Club from of Native American veterans is going to come participate at Fort Verde. So we decided it's been a controversial war, and and the fort had its controversy, but this would be a good way to honor everybody. So that's awesome. And he stepped up, and I'm really glad to see that. That's great. You're doing a great job. Thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate having you. Steve Ayers, the Director of the Department of Economic Development for the town of Camp Verde. Now stay tuned, because we'll be right back with lots more interesting stuff.
And welcome back to the Verde Valley Experience. I'm here with Ken Zoll, Executive Director of the Verde Valley Archaeology Center. Hi, Ken.
Hi.
Thank you so much for joining me today.
Oh, my pleasure.
It's a truly fascinating center you have, the Verde Valley Archaeology Center. We have such a rich history around here. There's so much to be learned. Tell me a little bit about the center.
Well, we actually got started only 3 years ago, primarily because we had a speaker come to one of our meetings who said that he had done some excavations here in the Verde Valley and extracted over 25,000 artifacts. And when we asked them where they were, he said they were all sent out of the area. And so to be able to keep artifacts that are found here, we have to create a local repository that's certified by the state. And so for the last 3 years, that's the goal we've been moving towards.
Yeah, I bet. And I've got here that the Verde Valley Archaeology Center preserves archaeological sites and collections, developing partnerships with American Indians, cultural groups, and the community it serves to foster a deeper understanding of prehistory and of American Indian history in the Verde Valley.
That's correct. When we started to get together, we talked to all the historical societies, and all of them, whether it be Cottonwood or Camp Verde or Sedona, only deal with the pioneer days, and nobody dealt with the time prior to that. And so that was a niche area that we felt we could fill and educate the public more about that.
That's great. And you've got a fair coming up at the end of this month.
And we have the annual Verde Valley Archaeology Fair at the Camp Verde Community Center. And this is the 3rd year that we've had that. And so we have archaeological exhibits, displays, demonstrations, lectures, movies, all of which are free, except for our evening International Archaeology Film Festival, which is on next week, Friday and Saturday, at the Camp Verde Multi-Use Center Auditorium.
Which is located at the high school.
At the high school, yes.
That's great. And how many films do you have total in your film festival?
Well, this year, in the past, we've always had like a feature length each evening. This year, we're having actually 3 shorts on Friday night and Saturday night. And we're really proud that we are featuring the first U.S. showing of a BBC series called The Flying Archaeologist. And it was premiered in London last May. And so we have the 4 30-minute episodes that we'll be showing, which is basically an archaeologist flying over places like Stonehenge and Hadrian's Wall and the Thames, and he discovers new things about these thought to have totally explored sites, and then he goes down on the ground and they actually dig up or closer examine the stuff that he saw from the air. So never been seen in the United States before. Wow,
that's amazing. And it's a 2-day event. So it's Friday and Saturday, which is the 28th and 29th of March. And the film starts at 7?
They start at 7 o'clock, and they are a fundraising event for us, so it's $10 or $8.50 for a member each evening.
Well, that's great. I was looking over the list of some of the films that you were going to show, and they're all, you want to see them all. They're all fascinating.
They're all very interesting, and seeing archaeological sites from the air is rather unique. I might give you a little first to hear, but the BBC people who put on this show contacted us, and they want to do a flyover of archaeological sites here in the Verde Valley. So we're working on a potential series of doing that here in Arizona. So
how exciting!
Yeah, that would be very exciting.
The BBC. All right. Small towns getting on the big time.
That's right.
That's awesome. And you are really, really involved in the Archaeology Center. I mean, you're the executive director. So tell me what a day in your life looks like at the center.
Oh, gosh. Well, obviously I'm there when people come in, and so I often will give orientations, a little walk around of the center on the days that I'm there. When I'm not there, we have docents that do the same thing. My main function is fundraising, organization, editing the newsletter, public speaking, so it's a whole variety of things that I get involved in.
That's great. Man of many hats.
Yes.
Do you have any volunteer opportunities over at the Archaeology Center?
Well, the entire center, including myself, are volunteers.
Wow.
I'm not paid. I do this as a volunteer. Our president, all our officers are volunteers. Even our board of directors, which includes 3 MA archaeologists and 1 PhD archaeologist, are all volunteers. And we have a variety of opportunities for anybody who wants to volunteer, whether it be excavations, field surveys, field trips, pottery identification. We're doing a project for the Forest Service on artifact identification and cataloging, and so we provide training for that. So we have a whole variety of activities that people can get involved in to a great extent or a little extent. If you want to do it once a week or once a month, it's whatever. We'll take anybody's time, that wants to offer it.
Oh, that's awesome. And they can look you guys up at verdevalleyarchaeology.org.
Yes.
Is that correct? And will they find opportunities to volunteer and contact information on there?
A lot of contact information, not so much volunteer activities specified as such, but anything we do, we have opportunities for people to volunteer.
Oh, that's great. And the Verde Valley Archaeology Center is located at 385 South Main Street in Camp Verde. Again, the website is verdevalleyarchaeology.org. And you can also look at visitcampverde.com. So the big fair's coming. You've got the film festival. You guys are really busy right now.
We're very busy, yes. And we just finished a survey with the Prescott National Forest for there's actually a pit house village that they discovered was being eroded by an arroyo. Every time it rains, it gets washed away more.
Right.
And so they asked us to get involved in surveying it, deciding how large a village it is, and then we'll decide whether we need to excavate the whole thing or just the part that's getting damaged by the arroyo. So every time we turn around, we're getting somebody else coming along saying, you people have the expertise, you have the volunteers, we'd like to have you get involved.
Wow, what an exciting discovery.
It's pretty cool.
That's very cool. Do you know who the people were at this point, or you need to do some more work?
Well, just based on the artifacts that are already washing down, this was definitely a Sanawa site, and it could be anywhere from 650 AD, 950 AD, somewhere in that time frame. That's pretty much the pit house period.
Wow, that is amazing. I'm so happy to hear that more things keep popping up.
That's right.
That's great. Okay, so you've got to get yourself to the Verde Valley Archaeology Fair. Wow, how many times am I going to say archaeology in this show alone? So the fair is Saturday and Sunday, March 29th and 30th, and it's located, well, when you do the fair, it's going to be at the Verde Valley Archaeology Center.
No, actually, the actual, most of the exhibits and demonstrations are in the community center. Some people call it the old gym, the old school in Camp Verde, which is just off of Main Street on the road to the Fort Verde State Park.
Right.
And it's right next to the soccer field where the Wine and Pecan Festival will be. So you can go have your wine and pecans and come in and talk to us. And we have 24 Native American artists that'll be in the gym. To get into the gym, they have to agree to demonstrate their art, not just sell it. And then we'll have at least a dozen additional artists that'll be in their canopies in the grassy area around the gazebo. So these are from almost every Pueblo of New Mexico is represented, as well as Zuni and Hopi and Navajo. So we literally have almost every Native American organization group coming to the fair.
That's great. That's great. So it's going to be an all-around event. If you have any interest in the history and the prehistory of this area, you can go and see the archaeological practices and techniques with demonstrations. There's lectures, the American Indian Art Show, dozens of hands-on activities and special programs and live presentations. And again, that's Saturday and Sunday, March 29th and 30th for the Verde Valley Archaeology Fair, which is in conjunction with the Spring Heritage Pecan and Wine Festival, and then the International Archaeology Film Fest, which is happening Friday and Saturday, the 27th and 28th, and they start at 7. Ken, thank you so much for joining me today.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
I really appreciate having you. And we'll be right back.
Son, tell him that I've begun to dream of things to come, and tell the trees not to look for me. I'm going to find some peace of mind. Wake the sun. Wake the sun, wake the sun, wake the sun.
Hello and welcome back. I'm now here with Jim Turner, historian, author, and public speaker. Now, you are a fascinating man. I have so much wonderful information about Jim. You have a master's in U.S. history from U of A, and you began your career as a historian for the Arizona Historical Society.
That's right.
That has to be a fascinating job.
Well, I got to work with museums all over the state, and as a result, I really got to know Arizona's history from these local museums.
I bet.
Yeah.
And you retired in 2001, but you have not slowed down, or maybe you've sped up at this
Actually, it was
point.
2009.
2009.
But it's, I do now work for Rio Nuevo Publishers, and mostly editing history books or books about the Southwest. But I also speak for the Arizona Humanities Council, now called Arizona Humanities. But so I do go all over the state and give talks. I was in Parker a couple of weeks ago, and yesterday I was in Sun City, and various topics on Arizona history.
And I'm absolutely impressed because I'm a huge Arizona Highways fan, and you were featured in Arizona Highways in February of 2010 with an article of how Arizona got its name.
That's right.
And I'm so honored to be sitting here. You've been in that magazine. I love that magazine. It's so much fun. But even cooler, you wrote Arizona Celebration of a Grand Canyon State, a pictorial history book, which is now in its third printing.
Yep.
And you've sold over 5,000, which is a huge amount. And I love that you've sold over 1,000 of them alone out of the trunk of his car.
That's right. Well, when you go and give a talk, then somebody says, "Oh, have you written anything?" And "Oh yeah, and where can I buy it?" Well, as a matter of fact, I just happen to have one.
I know, and it's a really beautiful book. I mean, you've got how many?
More
hundreds?
than 520.
More than 502.
20 images.
20 photos.
And 20 images by Maynard Dixon, the famous artist.
Absolutely beautiful, beautiful book, and heavy.
Yes.
That's awesome. That's really great. That's very exciting. But the main reason why you're here is you're here to talk to me, or us, about the Coronado expedition, which was 1540 to 1542 for God, gold, and glory.
Yes, absolutely. And it's an amazing story that most people don't know, and I think it's because, well, I don't think I know. I know it's because most history textbooks are published on the East Coast. And so they start the history of Europeans in America with the Pilgrims or with the Virginians, you know, with Jamestown. Well, Coronado was here in the 1540s, and at that time, Henry VIII was still on the throne. So it gives you an idea of how far back people from the East will say, well, we don't have much old history in Arizona. Well, 1540 is pretty old.
Yeah, I'll say. And March 30th at 2 p.m. at Red Rock State Park in their theater, you'll be doing a presentation.
Right.
And you'll be showing images by the famous artists, maps, scenic and historical photographs, and archaeological remains from one of Coronado's campsites.
Yes. I got to go to a little town called Floydada, Texas, and that's just south of Amarillo, and about 30 miles, a little bit more than 30 miles south of Amarillo, and they found some crossbow dart points, some copper, the arrows from a crossbow dart, and also a part of a chainmail glove, some coins. So I actually got to go to that museum and see those artifacts from 450 years ago, and be within 50 miles of where they were.
Wow. That's really something to be able to touch and hold something that is that old and has so much history.
Well, they didn't let me hold them. They're in a glass case.
Wishful thinking.
Yeah.
So March 30th, 2 p.m. Now, the admission is included in the park fee. So if you go to the park, and if you're an adult, 14 or over, you're going to pay $5. Anyone 7 to 13 is $3. And of course, children 0 to 6 are absolutely free. But space is limited, so you want to call ahead and reserve. So for additional info or to reserve, it's 928-282-6907. You can also go to azstateparks.com. And then there's the Arizona Humanities Council.org. They'll have lots of wonderful information for you there because your program is made possible by the Arizona Humanities Council.
And I certainly thank them for that.
Definitely. This is going to be an amazing amount of information. How long is it going to be?
45 minutes.
Wow.
Yep.
You must talk fast.
Well, I've kind of focused it down. Over the years, people's attention spans have gotten a little bit shorter, and they require that 45 minutes plus 15 minutes for questions and answers. And I get a lot of interesting questions and input
I bet you do.
in that session part of it.
Can you come up with any really interesting questions you've been asked?
Well, just while I was waiting to come on here, Steve Ayers was talking about how he's been researching the fact that Coronado might have come through the Verde Valley. Well, we're pretty sure that he didn't. We, meaning the scholars, and I'm not one of the scholars, but I do keep in touch with all of them. And how Coronado got through Arizona, every town wants to claim it. Phoenix wants to say he came through there. And I had a millionaire who was building a home in Tucson and wanted a mural. And he said, of course we're going to have a mural that shows Coronado coming through Tucson. I had to tell him Coronado didn't come through Tucson. But when I finally got to his house for the opening of the mural, there was Coronado.
Of course.
So, yeah, we name everything after Coronado.
Wow, was an important fella.
But they will ask things like, I've been over to such and such, and you know, I saw this thing. Was that actually? And sometimes it is, and sometimes it's not. Yeah.
Sure. As with anything, there's a few pieces of misinformation out there floating around, but you're going to clear all that up. On March 30th at 2 p.m.
As far as we know, that's the operative phrase.
That is
as
true.
As far as we
anything.
know, something could come up tomorrow that would change the whole thing.
New information is always happening. That's why history is so exciting. You're always learning and growing and finding new things and new discoveries. And it's great to have an open mind when you work in this business.
Otherwise, you get in trouble. If you stick to your guns and then they do find out it's different, then you're kind of out of work.
And we wouldn't want that to happen.
No.
So you do so many things so well. It's such a pleasure to have you here. You have to go and see this Coronado expedition, 1540 to 1542, for God, Gold, and Glory. It's going to be March 30th at 2 p.m. at the Red Rock State Park Theater, which I'm sure is lovely. I haven't managed to be there.
I haven't been there either.
You haven't been there? Ooh.
It'll be new for me.
Be new for both of us. So again, it's included in your admission to the park, which is only a couple of bucks. The park is a really wonderful place to go. And if you have any interest in the history of Coronado and its relation to the Verde Valley, or relationless, whatever, you do want to make sure you go ahead and see that. And Jim, it has been such an honor to have you on the show.
A pleasure.
Your book is amazing. I think you're a very interesting man. You look stunning. I appreciate you dressing up for the show.
There we go. Yep.
That's awesome. And we'll be right back.
They say that when you're facing extreme danger, your life flashes before you. If you think that's sad, consider facing it before you even have enough life to flash before your eyes. Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Deaths and injuries can be prevented by using the right car seat. Visit safercar.gov/the-right-seat to know what is appropriate for each age and size.
And welcome back to the Verde Valley Experience. I'm here with Ryan Bigelow, who is the Recreation Services Supervisor for the Cottonwood Parks and Recreation. Thank you so much for coming today.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate being here.
What a fun job you must have.
For the most part, yes. It is one of those that when you're growing up, you're not really thinking about doing something like parks and recreation, but you get into it and it's like, what else would I be doing now? You know, this is what I know, this is what I love, so it's great.
Yeah, recreation as a job.
It's if I wasn't in charge of it, I would be participating in it, so you know I'm in the right field, right?
That is true. And you work for the Cottonwood Recreation Center.
Sure.
Which is the most amazing place. If you haven't been there, the Cottonwood Recreation Center has everything you could ever imagine and more. Summer camp programs, after school, there's a full gym, the heated pool. Now there's that amazing kids play thing in the pool.
The kids play apparatus. I just took a group of kids there on Wednesday and we had a blast. It's fantastic.
Is there a height restriction, like I'm too
Not
tall?
on the play apparatus kind of thing. I was up there playing with
were?
the kids, so it was just no horseplay, and that's really
Yeah.
hard for me. You know,
Right.
that's what I really want
You're
to
a
be
big
doing.
kid.
I want to be out there horse playing around, but
Sure.
we keep that to a minimum, keep it safe. But it is a great thing. It's great
an
fun.
amazing center. It's so beautiful, so well done, so clean, so nicely run. All the staff is very, very pleasant there. It's a really great experience just to go in there.
Well, thank you. That's excellent to hear. Sometimes we don't hear that very
No,
often.
well, I'm telling you now, in front of everybody. I love the Cottonwood Rec Center.
Thank you so much.
Now, we're here to talk about the 6th annual Brian Mickelson Memorial Marathon, which happens on Saturday, April 12th.
Saturday, April 12th. I can't believe it's the 6th annual already. It seems like just yesterday we were prepping for the first one. So, yeah, we have added a full marathon a couple of years ago. So now we do 4 total events. So, you know, anywhere from 600 plus people are going to be there Saturday, just out for I'm sure it's going to be a beautiful day weather-wise, and we're going to go out there and go for a nice jog. So it'll be fun.
That's great. Are you going to participate?
Again, if I wasn't in charge, I'd be doing it, right? But I'm going to have other obligations that day. But you know, I actually like to go out and jog every once in a while. So yeah, it's going to be fun.
I like to watch people run, and I can run away from something or after something. But that's about it.
Well, you just got to put out the carrot in front of you, right?
Right, you know,
And
that's about what it would take, a cookie or a chocolate bar. Now, the thing about the marathon is you can do several different things. You can do the full marathon. You can do a half marathon. You can do the 10K. You can do the 2K walk run. So it's nice that everybody can join in. There's women with strollers. Can people bring their dogs?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, as long as they help us clean up after them, you know, that helps. But that's what we like to promote, and just kind of like the recreation center, we like to say there's something for everybody. You know, you don't have to be in top fitness level condition to come out there and participate with us. You know, 2 miles, you can walk the 2 miles, you could walk the 10K. We have people who walk the half marathon. You know, they're just out there trying to enjoy the scenic beauty of the Verde Valley, come out and have a good time and enjoy us afterwards for a little bit. So it's something for everybody. You don't have to be a marathoner to come out and play with us.
Sure, and there's such a sense of camaraderie with folks who run, I've noticed.
There is, absolutely. They all kind of know the struggles that go into training and getting ready for something like that. You know, we have literally 100 volunteers that help us put the event on, so a very community-oriented, very community-driven event. We have 18 different water stations, and each one is done by a different organization or group volunteering their time, coming to help us out. So. A lot of fun overall.
Yeah, it's a really amazing event. And the Brian Mickelson Memorial Marathon is named after Brian Mickelson, who was Cottonwood's beloved city mayor, and he's now passed on. So it's a tribute to him and his passion for running and his passion for the Verde Valley.
Yeah, and we never want to forget that. You know, I actually was hired in '07, the same year, unfortunately, that he passed. So I only met him briefly. But his widow, Lynn Mickelson, is still very heavily involved and has really been the backbone behind this event and continuing to keep it going. So it is definitely a tribute to Brian. We like to bring somebody on to discuss a little bit about Brian right before the event, so everybody knows not only are you participating in a wonderful event, but here's why.
Yeah, that's great. And the entry fee ranges depending on when you sign up. So if you pre-register by April 9th, you'll go ahead and get a pretty good discount on your fee. And then after the 9th, it goes up until the 31st, and then after the 31st, it goes up again. But it varies between, you know, $20 for the walk run, up to $70 right now for the full marathon. It will go up to $90. So it does pay to pre-register for this. And you can register online at cottonwoodaz.gov, or you can give them a call at 928-639-3200. The Friday night pre-race meal is always a blast. And you guys are having one at the Cottonwood Rec Center from 5 to 7 with music and raffles and food, which is, of course, pasta and fruit.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's nice to get some of those folks from out of town to come to the rec center. You know, they pick up their bags, they have a meal. You know, it gives them an established home base there at the rec center. They know they can find out where the course is, they can find out course route, maps, everything they need to know about what they need to expect the next day. They can find there with us on Friday. It's great.
That's great. I always sleep better the night before if I know what's going on the next day. So that would make me very happy.
Peace of mind on Friday, and then you get out and you go for it on Saturday.
Right. And the race starts at 6 a.m. for the full marathon.
Full marathon, yeah, full marathon, those are our bright and early folks.
Yeah,
they
sure.
like to get up and go.
Right. The half marathon, you guys get to sleep in a little bit. 7:30 is your start time. The 10K is 7:40, and the 2-mile walk run is 7:50. So you can have a nice leisurely breakfast before you go out and
Yes,
run.
not too much, not too much.
Yeah, really. What's a good runner's breakfast?
They're going to try and get some fruit. They're going to try and get some carbs too, but they want those sugars to last them throughout the day.
Yeah. For sure, some good granola to keep you going.
Absolutely.
Not too much coffee.
No,
I hear caffeine is not so.
No, you don't want to overdo it on the coffee, but
Right.
me personally, I can't get up without it, so I'm at least having a cup.
Well, that's understandable. I know exactly what you mean. So the 6th annual Brian Mickelson Memorial Marathon is happening on Saturday, April 12th, and you're going to get bright and early at 6 a.m. if you're going to run the full marathon. You can run the half. You can run the 10K, the 2-mile walk run. Bring your kids, bring your dog, bring your grandma. It's definitely a wonderful event, and it's a fundraiser, is it not?
Yeah, Lynn is, like I said, Lynn Mickelson is still heavily involved. There's a scholarship through the Kiwanis in Brian's name that she does annually. She also donates money to the search and rescue, the Yavapai Search and Rescue. Actually, the ones who were able to find Brian as he was out on a training run when he passed. So, yeah, there's also some other organizations that are helped out by this event.
Oh, that's great. And you think about 600 runners is about what we'll have.
Last year we had a little over 600. You know, we've changed the date a little bit this year. We've pushed it up. As to respect the Easter holiday. We didn't want to be in competition with Easter. Nobody would win in that.
Sure.
So we pushed it up a date, a week. So we hope that this will encourage other folks to come out a little bit earlier. So registrations are looking good as of right now, and we expect at least 600, if not more, to register again this year.
That's awesome, Ryan.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, April 12th. Go ahead and pre-register right now. Go to cottonwoodaz.gov and get your running shoes on. Get out there, get practicing. Ryan Bigelow, Recreation Services Supervisor for Cottonwood Parks and Recreation. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
And we'll be right back after a short break.
Listen now, can you hear the bluebirds? Oh, look up now, can you feel the sun? Whoa, whoa, whoa. Can you feel the sun?
Back. Thank you for watching the Verde Valley Experience. I'm here with Tyvon Greenfield, and we're doing basic yoga. Now, yoga is an ancient practice, and it's very, very good for your health. Flexibility, balance, all very important things for us throughout our life. Hi, Ty.
Hi, Jen.
Thank you for joining me. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely my pleasure.
Tell me why we should do yoga.
Why not do yoga is really what it comes down to. Yoga aids in flexibility, in circulation, in relief for back and shoulder pain, depending on how you do it, if you do it with proper alignment and safely.
Sure, it's very important to do yoga the proper way, to have an excellent instructor with you. You can learn from books, but it's so much better to go to a qualified instructor and who can show you the proper way so that you don't injure yourself while you're trying to actually do some good.
Yeah, that's beautifully put. So given that, I always like to instruct on the basics. The down dog is a very basic move. Now, if you do yoga, you will do down dog. And so because it's so repetitive, if your alignment's not right and you're doing things that could cause you injury, the injury will happen pretty quick because it's so repetitive. In an hour and a half of yoga, or an hour of yoga even, you'll do dozens of down dogs.
Right.
Yes.
Wow. And who would be a good candidate for yoga?
Well, I think children, teenagers, you and me, people in their later years, everybody is a good, anyone who can do yoga is a good candidate for yoga. Yoga can be very therapeutic when you're recovering from an illness or injury as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I bet. And there are lots of different poses that you can do. And one of the great things about yoga is there's the basic version, then you get up and on and so forth, and more complicated. But just for a basic starting point, we know the downward dog is an excellent position to start with. You want to start nice and easy for sure. And there are lots of other interesting poses with very, very cool names. So yoga can be a lot of fun. How many times a week should you do yoga?
Now, I think you should do yoga as often as you can. You know, it's better to do yoga for 15 or 20 minutes every day, even 10 minutes. It's better to do yoga for 10 minutes a week, 3 times a week, than it is to do it for an hour and a half once a week. So, yeah, so we're talking about consistency. And the first thing you'll notice with doing that, or anyone with doing that will notice, is that your disposition can become better. Many people report, you know, definitely this is not a call to get off your meds, but a lot of people report not having to take antidepressants with a consistent yoga practice, because it does help with a sunnier outlook and perspective on things.
Wow, that's a very important side effect of yoga I did not know. Can you show us another good pose that we can get into?
A down dog or a tree. I like them both.
I've heard of the tree. Can I see what the tree looks like?
Oh, sure, absolutely. So a tree is a standing pose. So clearly we'll have to stand. Now the first thing you want to do with a tree, Jen, is find a focal point in front of you.
Okay.
And so that's what we call in yoga our drishti, our focal point. Now you can put your foot, if you're starting out with a tree, you know, find your base, you know, which foot you're more comfortable with, and you can put your foot on your ankle. And this is a tree right here.
Really?
And if you're kind of wobbly, put your foot down. Now you can also put your foot on your calf.
So there's your levels there. Foot on the ground, foot on the ankle, foot on, I think I'll keep my feet on the ground.
Foot on the thigh, but you do not put your foot on your knee ever. That causes injury.
Ah, so no knee. That's really good to know. So important to do things right. Having a good yoga instructor is always a great idea. And besides yoga instructing, Ty, you are a woman of many hats. And I know that yoga leads into other things in life, and you have a very interesting seminar that you have coming up.
Well, am I allowed to get out of the tree now?
Sure.
Okay. Sorry. Okay. So I do. You know, the tree builds inner strength, and I love that we did that move, because inner strength is about looking at yourself and being stable in the midst of the winds of life. And so my workshop that I am co-creating with 2 other lovely women is called the Intentional Life Retreat. Now the Intentional Life Retreat is, we cover everything from chakra clearing and aligning your chakras with money mastery, abundance training, muscle testing.
Good stuff.
Yeah, a lot of good stuff. A little bit of brain science to give you an understanding of your limbic brain. Wow. And so overall, I think that it would be a good program for anybody to get involved in. It's at the Amara Resort from March 21st to 23rd.
Wow, that's great. And see, you can start with yoga and move on from there. We'll be right back after a short break.
Son, tell him that I've begun to dream of things to come, and tell the trees not to look for me. I'm going to find some peace of mind. Wake the sun. Wake the sun, wake the sun, wake the sun.
A single ember from a wildfire can travel over a mile. That ember can ignite and destroy your home or community. You can't control where that ember will land. Only what happens before it does. Visit fireadapted.org to learn how you can help protect your community from wildfires.
Wow. That was gorgeous.
Thank you.
Welcome back. I'm sitting here in the studio with Stolen Boulevard. This is Afton Seekins and PK Gregory.
Hi.
Wow. That was beautiful.
Thank you.
And you wrote that, didn't you, Afton?
Yes.
One of Afton's
yes, I
songs.
did.
That's beautiful. So much feeling in that one. And I really think that feeling and emotions has a lot to do with songwriting.
Definitely.
How do you get your inspiration when you guys write?
I think for me, it definitely comes from personal experience. I definitely write from emotional breakups. They're definitely great songwriting material. And that's, I don't know, I think it comes from anywhere, really, any personal experience, and it can happen at any time in a different way, whether the lyrics come first or the chords come first. It's just very organic that way, I guess.
Yeah, it's amazing. You never know what's going to come out.
What's cool about the combination of what we do is that Afton does write from that place that's just very from the heart, and since I don't have a heart, it's difficult for me. But I got tired of competing with all the other sensitive singer-songwriters. I have written and do write some of those kinds of songs, love songs and sensitive songs. But what's cool about what we do is Afton brings that really honest, from the heart element, and I bring like this quirky songs about zombies or nuns or cannibal love and that kind of thing.
Absolutely.
Which we'll do a little later. But
yeah, I know. I can't wait. And you guys do a fair amount of playing around town, and you even leave town.
Yeah.
Tonight you're playing in Prescott.
Yes.
At the Cork and
yeah, we're trying to get out of town a little bit more. I mean, we love playing around here, but it's easy to wear people out if you're playing every single weekend. So we're looking to get out a little more, not just to Prescott, but farther afield. Got my wife doing booking for us now, so hopefully going to.
Sure to be a hit then.
It's awesome to get that off. That responsibility is.
Yeah. Absolutely. And you guys have a great Facebook page and a great website. If you go to facebook.com/Stolen Boulevard, you can also go to stolenboulevard.com, and we can find out where you're playing next, what you've been doing, hear your songs.
There's one up right now, and we're getting more. We're in the studio right now recording our album. It's going to be all original music. About half of it is Afton's, and about half of it is mine. And some we sing as duets, and some Afton will take the lead, and some I'll take the lead. So that's
just amazing.
We're going to have maybe 12 songs that we've picked out, hopefully by summer. That's
great. And you provided me with a description, which I have to read you. This is amazing. So, folk duo with honky-tonk aspirations, described as the two-headed velociraptor love child of singers Afton Seekins and PK Gregory, Stolen Boulevard is much more than your average folk duo. Coupling guitar, bass, harmonica, foot percussion with superlative vocal harmonies and an eclectic songwriting style that is, despite it all, firmly rooted in the soil of home. Who wrote that?
I did, but I've never actually been able to say it before. You said that beautifully.
That's very impressive.
That's quite a lot. That is really
it's a mouthful.
Particularly amazing.
Yeah.
And another thing that I picked out is that you like the phrase songwriting that celebrates the sublime mingling of passion and wicked irreverence.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was talking about, where Afton brings that passionate, heartfelt thing, and I bring the wicked irreverence.
Yes. It's an excellent combination. How long has Stolen Boulevard been around? How long have you been doing it together?
Well, we've been playing together for a little less than a year. It hasn't always been on this project, but I mean... I think
we just actually invented the Stolen Boulevard name. We had a bunch of ideas, and we put it up to a Facebook vote, and everybody, hands down, picked Stolen Boulevard, which is actually the road that Afton grew up on in Camp Verde. So it had some history to it and actually some meaning. So we're like, okay, let's just go with it. Everybody likes it.
Well, that's great.
But that's only been in the last month, and then we finally got the website up, and now we're really kind of pushing it forward.
That's fantastic. And it's educational, too, because there aren't too many people that know how to spell Boulevard out there. So
that's true.
Everyone's learning that.
We did debate on whether to abbreviate it or not, but we don't, we still want people to be able to find us.
We do aim to educate, though. You know, like we want to bring something to the table besides just crass entertainment.
Well, there's something to be said for crass entertainment.
That's true. I know it well.
So I've got Stolen Boulevard with Afton Seekins and PK Gregory here. Don't forget to check them out at Facebook and also at stolenboulevard.com. And now we're going to hear a song that you wrote.
Yes.
Excellent. And what's the name of this one, PK?
This one is called "What You Gonna Do When I'm Gone," and I wrote it about the Jamestown cannibals, imagined as a husband and wife looking at each other and knowing that one of them is going to go first and the other one is probably going to be well fed after that. So it's a love song.
Well, great. I'm so glad you guys came. Thank you so much for being on the show. Thank you, everyone, for watching the Verde Valley Experience. We're going to hear this wonderful song, and we'll see you next time.
Okay.
That's quite a setup.
I know I had to make sure I wasn't hitting the microphone. Or flashing anyone. I do that sometimes. Okay. Yeah? Yeah. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Came into this world to try to make a new life. Little darling, I think I messed it up. I worked my ruddy English fingers down to the bone till I spin up. All we had of luck. You're looking at me, looking at you. We're seeing each other in a whole new light. Looks a lot like food. Well, I think I'm gonna cash it in. Won't take long now. What you gonna do when I'm gone? I'd do the same to you, right or wrong, little darling. What you gonna do with me when I'm gone?
They told us that God watches over the righteous. Well, I don't believe in God no more. The king upon his hill in merry old England, just a gold painted whore. My skinny little lamb needs to be fed. Let's bow our heads and pray for our daily bread. I think I'm gonna cash it in, won't take long now. What you gonna do when I'm gone? I'd do the same to you, right or wrong, little darling. What you gonna do with me when I'm gone? What you gonna do? What you gonna do? What you gonna do?
100 poor souls died in the crossing, 200 more down here.
I lie awake all night and dream of what was wasted. I tremble in fear.
The sun sets red on this cursed land. It's doggy, doggy, man-y, man. I think I'm gonna cash it in, won't take long now. What you gonna do when I'm gone? I'd do the same to you, right or wrong, little darling. What you gonna do with me when I'm gone? I think I'm gonna cash it in, won't take long now. What you gonna do when I'm gone? I'd do the same to you, right or wrong, little darling. What you gonna do with me when I'm gone?
Excellent. That is so great.
Thank you.